Let's see if I can do the first episode in one take, because nothing ever goes wrong in the first take. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Scott Talks and Plays Cookie Clicker. Or I suppose Scott Talks and Clicks Cookies. That would have a pronounceable acronym. But either way, this is just a series where I talk and do something, which is about as basic as internet video can get. Every other day, I'll pick a topic of something I just feel like talking about, and talk until I'm done and decide that I have gotten my point across. One thing that's been getting to me a lot lately is Facebook comment sections. Anybody who has me on Facebook has probably seen me rant about it in a status several paragraphs long, and it's making me want to drift further and further away from Facebook. I know a lot of people are getting to that point with all the data sharing and the privacy violations. That stuff doesn't so much get to me. The way I see it, it's a free service, and if you're getting something for free, you're likely the product, is what most people say. And for the most part, it's fairly true. I am certain if you look in the user agreement, if you read all the terms and conditions, what they're doing, while deceptive, is technically something you've signed up for. And so I'm sympathetic to people who feel betrayed by that, because it is a betrayal. It's a very sneaky way of getting access to your information. That's not the problem I have with Facebook. I've accepted the fact that my information's being given out, and I can control what information goes into it. My problem is people in the comments. When I was just kind of starting out in the internet a while ago, I learned pretty quickly when people are anonymous, they will say things that you wouldn't say to somebody face to face. The kind of racist troll comments you would see. 4chan is, famous for people who are literally anonymous saying these horrific things. And while certainly not harmless, at least when it's confined to one area of the internet, the seedy underbelly, most people don't have to interact with it. And if you're there, you probably understand what is going on around. And it doesn't make it any easier to deal with, but at least you know going in that people talk like that. But Facebook is quite the opposite of 4chan, or at least it used to be. At Facebook, while not talking face to face, is about as close as you can get. You could draw some conclusion just based on the name Facebook, but you can click on anyone's profile if you see them comment on something or see them post something. And for the most part, because people don't tend to update their visibility settings, you can see a lot about this person. And I've clicked if I've seen comments that I thought were despicable, that I thought were racist or inflammatory. I'd click on the profile. I'm curious what kind of person would say things that like what I was seeing. And you can get a lot of information from it. People are not anonymous on Facebook. So just my general understanding was that people will be nicer, or they'll hold their tongue, or they won't say certain things if they know there could be consequences. If they know that what they said can be tied to them, they're much less likely to say those things. But I don't know if it's always been like this. Maybe I'm just noticing in the last several months. I'm wrong. People do not need anonymity to say vulgar, racist, discriminatory, ignorant things just out there for anyone to see. I find typically it's on news articles. You have a story about a group of people, you have a story about an attack, uh, or it's a political story, something where there can be sides. Republican or Democrat, pro or anti-gun control, Islamophobic or nice person. If you read the comments, you're almost guaranteed to see comments supporting whatever happened, or comments opposing it. One of the examples that drove me not just to do this episode, but to do this whole series, because I can't just keep these thoughts in my head and expect to understand them. I have to verbalize them in some capacity. One of the articles was simply talking about an Eid celebration somewhere in England. There was a lot of people who come out. It was a big crowd. That was the story, was that there was like a record number of people celebrating this thing. And I knew in my head, because it had to do with religion in England, no less, that there was going to be some inflammatory comments. And for whatever reason, maybe I like getting myself angry reading these things, but I clicked, and of course there was people saying how it didn't belong in their country, how their country was getting taken over by people who follow a different religion. I saw somebody use the phrase, or his name, England Stan or something like that. These people that you could very easily click on their profile and see who they were saying these outright ignorant Islamophobic things on a BBC article. There were thousands of comments, which means, tens of thousands of people can look and see who's saying these things. Now, a lot of people are going to agree with them, of course, and they're not, they won't think anything of it. They'll just agree and like the comment. But I would like to think that the vast majority of people would see comments like that, and on any other post being equally as ignorant. I would hope that the majority of people see them as ignorant and sick, but it doesn't seem like it. I don't even know. I don't have a point to this. I just want to say that I think it's terrible that people say things like this in public to other people with the full intent of hurting people. I know with gun control, with all the mass shootings occurring in the United States, really and around the world, but I mean, let's face it, the United States is where the global media is focused on this issue right now. You have people who will attack you if you are pro-gun control. You have people that will attack you if you're against gun control. There's no winning on the internet in the comment section of anything. In my experience, it was YouTube. That is always where I would, choose not to look in the comments because I knew they'd be horrible. I think it just perplexes me that in such a public forum such as Facebook, you would have what you might consider troll comments on any other platform. But these are people's honest opinions. And I don't know if maybe people are actually being more divided. It feels that way. I know in the last few years, when we look back on it in history, we're going to see that this time was a time of division. But maybe we're just noticing it more. 10 years ago, you didn't have this kind of unfettered access to people's opinions. And every day, so many people are joining the conversation, and their views haven't changed because of the internet. Their views are more known, more accessible, because of the internet. So, and I really don't have a point to this. I'm just as confused as anyone listening to this. I don't get it, and it makes me want to withdraw from Facebook in particular and go places where I don't see such things that make me angry. But I also feel like I'm isolating myself and putting myself in a media bubble by doing that, by filtering out people who have different opinions. I don't want to do that, and I want to engage with people who disagree with me. But the Facebook comment section, or really online in any capacity, at least in my experience, is not the way to do it. It is so hard to have a constructive conversation when you're not face to face talking to them with your mouth. It's hard to want to understand and talk to people when it feels like the barrier to entry is so high. So, of course, people are going to feel more divided because they don't want to put in that effort to talk to someone that they don't think they're going to agree with. You know, I don't want to comment on every person's post, asking them for context, asking them to clarify, because it's too hard, and that's why people take the easy way out. I do it. You probably do it. You look at somebody and you see what they say and you label them. And in politics, it's really easy because it's as simple as saying, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, you're a conservative, you're a liberal. It is so easy for me to attack the Republican Party when I see one guy saying hateful, racist, anti-immigrant things. It's easier in my head to say, oh, this is what Republicans are like, and put them in one group. And I'm sure it goes the other way around. I know it goes the other way around, where they see someone, with my ideological persuasion, wanting some kind of compromise, some kind of middle ground, and you get labeled as like a flip-flopper, which is like a bleeding heart liberal. Because to them, it's easier to put you in a bucket. And I get that. I do. It is easier. But just because it's easy doesn't mean it's right. And Facebook comments make it easy to say things and to see things shallowly, to look at them briefly and without consideration for what they might mean, what they might actually think. It doesn't make it easy to engage, and that is very much the problem. So go out there and talk to people. If there's any point to this 12, 13 minutes of rambling about something that's been bothering me for a while, it's talk to people in person. If you see a post or a comment that inflames you and makes you want to fight back, don't. Join the conversation in real life. Go to town hall meetings. Go to events held by politicians. Have that one-on-one. Even if you're just one voice of thousands that they hear. If you can ask them a question or tell them what you think face to face, that is going to do a hell of a lot more than shouting at some guy on Facebook about vaccinations. We need to choose when we get angry about things. As much as it's terrible for somebody to be Islamophobic in a Facebook post, pick your battles. Are you really going to help make the world better by yelling at them and saying the Republican Party is racist online? Or are you going to do better by making sure that your local government or your national government isn't instituting legislation that's discriminatory? Obviously, stand up for people, but online, where it's super easy to attack people, we can make it less effective by not engaging. Engage in real life, and maybe, just maybe, we can all act a little more sane when discussing things that are very sensitive. So hopefully that didn't discourage you from watching what I assume will be a playlist that will be linked to on the screen at some point near the end. I know I just said engage in person. That's not entirely practical if you're watching this video, so go ahead and leave a comment. Just be nice. Alright? And if you're responding to other people in the comments, be nice. Take time. Understand that we're all dealing with that limited character box when we're trying to get our complicated thoughts across. So just be patient, be kind, and try to have a discussion.